My mother-in-law humiliated me with cruel jokes disguised as humor for 10 years at every family event, but I've had enough. My mother-in-law Dorothy thought she was hilarious. Every family gathering, she'd make jokes about my weight, my job, my cooking, my parenting, always followed by, "Lighten up, it's just a joke," when anyone looked uncomfortable. When I married her son Blake, she stood up at our wedding reception and said she was surprised Blake found someone willing to marry him for love instead of money since he didn't have any, then looked at me and said, "Oh wait." Everyone laughed nervously while she beamed like she delivered the best toast ever. For 10 years, Dorothy's jokes got worse. She'd introduce me as Blake's first wife, then laugh saying she was kidding, but statistics didn't lie. She'd tell my kids that mommy couldn't help with math homework because some people just weren't born smart. She'd announce at dinner that she made extra food since I'd probably eat everyone's leftovers anyway. When our daughter Lily was born premature and spent weeks in NICU, Dorothy visited once and joked that Lily was trying to escape already. She said maybe the baby knew something we didn't about her parents. Blake would weekly tell his mom to stop, but Dorothy would say he'd lost his sense of humor since marrying me. Every holiday became a performance where Dorothy was the comedian and I was the punchline. Christmas meant jokes about my gifts being cheap because teachers don't make real money. Thanksgiving meant comments about me eating for two when I wasn't pregnant. Easter meant cracks about me probably hiding eggs because I was good at hiding my real personality until after the wedding. Birthday parties meant Dorothy telling everyone the story of how Blake could have married his ex Rachel, but settled for me instead. She'd always end with kidding, but nobody ever laughed. Blake's dad Richard would stare at his plate while Blake's sister Amy would suddenly need to check on something in another room. I tried everything to make Dorothy stop. I asked her privately to be kinder, and she said I was too sensitive for my own good. I tried joking back, but she'd get offended and tell everyone I was mean to her. I tried ignoring the jokes, but she'd repeat them louder thinking I hadn't heard. Blake tried talking to her, but she'd cry about how nobody appreciated her humor anymore, and everyone was so serious these days. She'd promise to be better, then show up to the next event with fresh material about my failures. The breaking point was Lily's 5th birthday. Dorothy arrived late and announced she'd been thinking about how Lily looked nothing like our family, so maybe the mailman was involved. She laughed at her own joke while 5-year-olds stared confused and other parents looked horrified. When Blake told her to apologize, Dorothy said it was just observational humor, and we needed to teach Lily not to be soft like her mother. That night, I decided to stop responding to Dorothy completely. Not silent treatment, just absolute non-reaction to anything she said that was meant to be funny. The next family dinner, Dorothy made her usual entrance with a joke about my outfit looking like I'd raided a donation bin. I continued cutting vegetables like she hadn't spoken. She repeated it louder. I asked Amy about her new job. Dorothy made another crack about my cooking, probably poisoning everyone. I kept stirring the pot while discussing the weather with Richard. Dorothy's face got red, but she kept trying. Every joke landed in silence from me while I had normal conversations with everyone else. Blake's family noticed immediately. Without my forced laughter or hurt reactions, Dorothy's jokes hung in the air like dead birds. Richard started clearing his throat after each one. Amy would immediately change the subject. Blake would look at his mom with disappointment. Dorothy's jokes got more desperate. She'd practically shout them across the table, but I'd just continue eating and talking to others about normal things. She'd repeat punchlines thinking I'd missed them. She'd explain why something was funny while I passed dishes around her explanations. Family dinners became excruciatingly awkward for everyone except me. I was having lovely conversations while Dorothy performed to a dead room. Dorothy started complaining to everyone that I was giving her the silent treatment. Blake corrected her, saying I talked to her about normal things just fine. I just didn't respond to jokes. Richard said maybe that meant the jokes weren't funny. Amy suggested Dorothy try being sincere instead of always performing. Dorothy said they'd all lost their sense of humor because of my influence. She started bringing other people to dinners to audience her comedy. Her sister Louise came once, heard Dorothy's routine about my inadequacies, and asked Dorothy why she was so cruel to her daughter-in-law. Dorothy said it was just jokes, but Louise said jokes were supposed to be funny, not just mean. Dorothy's friends stopped accepting dinner invitations after witnessing the awkward spectacle of Dorothy performing to my non-response. The situation exploded at Dorothy's retirement party. She'd been an office manager for 30 years and planned this huge celebration. She asked Blake to give a speech about growing up with such a funny, vibrant mother. She wanted family photos and memories shared. She'd rented a hall and invited 100 people. The week before, she cornered me and said I'd better laugh at her retirement speech because she had prepared special material about our family. I said I looked forward to hearing it. Full story on channel. Link below.